Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime AYoN. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Henvy Jitters.
I'm CheerandCosplay. And I'm Kozi.
And this is the last of the anime that were nominated that we haven't seen yet. Thing. See, I did not come up with a whatever for the title of this month's thing. The Wind Rises. Miyazaki's final film, asterisk.
What would have been his final film 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Honestly, the man needs to stop.
Maybe. I don't know.
He'll literally be on his deathbed still drawing hand-drawn animation stills.
I mean, good for him. So, I think we've all kind of figured out we've all seen this one before, yes?
Yes.
And we've all seen it relatively for the first time when it came out around 2013, 2014, 15, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in our anime club when we had a Miyazaki marathon. I want to say it was like 2015-ish.
That sounds about right. So I guess, yeah, what did we think about it this time around? Has our opinions changed very much since we first saw it? Or like, what were our thoughts, I guess? Let's all go around.
Al, can you put in an image here? And it's the Miyazaki smoking anime was a mistake.
I mean, I've been discussing that a little bit here and there as well.
Shit was just as boring and lifeless as the first go around.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I didn't like this when it came out, and I don't really think I liked it very much now. I'll give it some compliments. I think the airplanes look very nice, and I think that, as at least compared to last week, this is the kind of animation that I'm used to from Ghibli, where it does feel like it has life behind it. It's just boring.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, I know there's that one famous shot that literally took them 4 years to make. It's that scene where they're in the crowded market, like that shot where everyone's rushing forward. That shot literally took them 4 years to make because there's just so much going on in that shot.
Yeah, I mean,
wait, the one where the bank was getting shut down?
No, it's like the scene where like the crowd is like in a market area or something like that. There's like dozens, if not hundreds, of people on the screen at once.
Do you mean during the earthquake or aftermath of the earthquake?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say the technical skill behind this, it's Ghibli at its Ghibliest. It's very impressive. The story's boring as hell.
It really, I feel like this was like homage to like Miyazaki obviously grew up post World War II.
Yeah,
like these were probably like people who he grew up as like, these are like my kind of heroes, like in real life, because this is based off of a real Japanese man.
Sort of.
I mean, it's a fictional telling of his life. They did change a lot, but like, this is a real man.
Yeah.
He was very opposed to the war, despite only designing warplanes, so I don't... Okay, actually, He
was opposed to fighting America.
He was very opposed to the World War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
He was designing planes to kill Chinese people.
Yeah, I guess he didn't have much of a problem with that. I find it interesting, and like, we can just... that this is based on a novel that has nothing to do with the man's life. And the entire, like, the stuff about him, like, making the planes, that's real. The entire story with the wife and the tuberculosis and everything else, that comes from a fictional novel, had nothing to do with this man's life at all.
You know what? He was the one who got sick.
Yeah. But he still survived to, like, 1982.
No, he did. And him and his wife, they had children, but they did not get along very well.
Okay, so I have a possible theory, and I don't know. I wonder if sometimes, like, Miyazaki just finds a book or a work or something that he's like, this is a good idea, but I can do it way better. So that's why he changes so many things in his adaptations of stuff. Because this is kind of... because, like... it's difficult because, like, the personal story here is from a fictional story that has nothing to do with the real person. And it's like adapting this book called The Wind Has Risen, or The Wind Is Rising, or something along that. Titles of something along those lines. And it's just weird. It's like this is the dumbest comparison, but I'm almost like, is this like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter? It's like you're taking a real person and putting it with a fictional work that's
that
like,
was a good movie.
Okay, it's okay.
No,
It's not.
it was a good movie.
All right. Like, but it's
Maybe
weird, right?
Hamilton,
It's
it's fiction based off of a person.
yeah. Like, but
Yeah,
also...
I feel like those drew more on history.
Okay, yeah. Perhaps Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, not the best comparison to make.
But like they use like actual historical events and stuff, whereas this one, like, some of the events, yes, did happen, but a lot of it is just like completely fictionalized. Like, Mitsubishi was never struggling. He was never under threat of being arrested by Japan's secret police. Like, none of that ever happened.
We can assume that he also never met with a spy that was like trying to stop Germany from entering the war. There's a lot going on here that's like... What's weird is that he decided to essentially make up the entirety of this guy's personal life, but he just didn't make it like interesting to me for some reason. And I'm sorry to anyone who really enjoyed this, because
I think we could have had a very interesting like think piece on the moral implications. I mean, again, like, he knew what he was doing. His entire career was specifically designing like bomber planes. Like,
true.
This man was not like, I want to improve aeronautics. Like, he was 100%. I'm gonna make planes to kill people.
Yeah.
Weapons of war. But like, I feel like we could have had a very interesting think piece on like seeing the actual repercussions of that and dealing with that kind of guilt. Like,
Yeah,
as much as I
possibly.
hate Oppenheimer, I think they did give us a realistic representation of like coming to terms with, oh shit, I fucked up humanity pretty bad.
Yeah, and there is the possibility of that, but like I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that. I think there's clearly an element here that is like you want to create for creation's sake, but then it's also like, well, what are you creating? Becomes the question.
Also,
Because-
it kind of felt like there was a lot of like World War II apologism. I don't think Japan deserved to be nuked, but like, Japan did some pretty heinous fucking shit
Yeah,
during the World War.
yeah, they did.
And like, it was a direct result of their imperialism and fighting to expand the nation, in which they were doing other really fucked up shit.
Yeah, they definitely were, and we have, the records to prove that. Like, the weird... I don't want to say weird, but, like, there was kind of some division, I guess, in Japan over the... I don't have a thing to cite from right now about it, but apparently the audiences were a little divided. Some saying that this was too much of a pacifist look at this, and some people saying this was not critical enough of what happened afterwards.
Well, yeah, because it really, like, took away accountability. They're like, we never really wanted a war. We were just so poor. The reason they were so poor is because they were dumping all of their resources into conquering all of Asia.
Yeah, I mean, rapid expansion costs a lot. And like, nothing for nothing, I think looking at it from that standpoint, Japan's, like, rapid industrialization is on some levels very impressive, but it's also like, yeah, that's going to come at a cost in a lot of different ways.
That was actually another thing that bothered me, comparatively to when the Western expansion and Meiji Restoration, all that, actually occurred. In terms of Japan's technology, yes, they were incredibly far behind. By the time of World War II, they were not, we're just 20 years behind all the time, we're never going to catch up. As soon as they opened up and actually got a hold of, like, fundamentals of technology, they were already, like, rapid fire improving it. So, like, this whole no, we'll never get there, like, that wasn't a thing.
Well, I mean, I think it would have been at the time that they were saying it in the movie, because that was like around the late 20s-ish. By the time we like end the movie, it's like mid 1930s at that point. At the point where you're saying they did rapidly once they got the fundamentals.
The 1900s to the 1920s is when they were, like, really technology forward. And, like, they got the technology and they improved it. It wasn't we're so far behind. It was let us take it, pick it apart. And like the 1920s is like we see it in the movie. Like they had the trains, they had the boats, they had the engines. Like most of that was coming out of like Japan and Asia at the time. Like the technology that the rest of the world used came from them. And it came from like the 1920s. So they weren't like 20 years behind. Like in the 1900s, they would have been 20 years behind.
I'm going to throw out there that on some level, it might be referring more to just the airplane element of it, which at that point was still very new, at least in the mass producing and a lot of like the newer technology that was going into aeronautics at the time. They'd been around, but like not as long as the train had been at that point.
Yes, the aeronautics was relatively new, but I do just still feel like they were talking about technology in general, which it doesn't line up with the actual history of the technological revolution that took place in Japan.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's one of those things of like, I feel like when people are talking and they're in a certain industry, whenever they talk about technology, it's usually just about whatever they're talking about. I could be wrong though, but it seemed to be every time, because it's mainly his one buddy, who I think was played by John Krasinski in the dub. I forget his name, but I'm just like, okay, that's Jim. Cool. Yeah.
You didn't mention that.
What? You didn't notice that?
I mean, Emily Blunt was his wife.
Yeah.
So I looked up the voice cast because young Jiro was, I think his name is Zach.
Zach Howell. He's Steven Universe.
His Steven Universe,
Yeah.
and then Emily Blunt was his mom in Steven Universe.
That's weird to think about.
When he started talking, I was like, I know that, not Steven. Steven I got immediately, but his older voice. I was like, who is that? I know that voice.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Kozi was like, it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I was like, oh.
I'm not
And
gonna
it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I'm like, 10 Things I Hate About You?
He's in that, yeah.
I think he was a Robin.
He was sort of Robin.
Inception.
Yes.
He was not the main guy in 10 Things I Hate About You.
No, he was the brother going after the sister. Not the brother. He was the guy going
He was the
after
guy
the
who
sister.
paid Heath Ledger to go out with Kat so that he could get with the Kat's sister.
Yeah.
I like that movie a lot.
Yeah.
What I recognize him most for is Jim Hawkins.
And I didn't know who he was back in the day, but I got a kick out of the one guy being played by Werner Herzog.
Yes.
Speaking of Werner Herzog, not just him, but like the scenes immediately following, I feel like they had to have recorded these sequentially, like talking to each other in booths, because the voice lines following him from other characters also felt really stiff and awkward.
I gotta be real, I feel like a lot of it feels a little stiff and awkward on some level. I don't think a whole lot of people give out a whole lot of good performances here. That might be part of it. I know that I don't know that I've seen this in Japanese, unless we did watch it in Japanese when we did it for Anime Club, but
No,
I remember
it was English.
Okay. I've heard that the main guy's voiced by Hideaki Anno, the guy who made Evangelion, and I've heard he is not good at acting.
Well, yeah. I mean, no offense, but he's a director.
Yeah.
I mean, there are actors that direct, but most actors don't direct.
I can't help but think that
The only dub I saw that had good remarks for it was, funny enough, the French dub.
okay,
People
we need to
really
watch
liked the French dub.
The one person I really liked in this was Stanley Tucci playing Giovanni Battista Caproni, the Italian guy. Which, nothing for nothing, his scenes are the best because I do think there are some good scenes in this that are the dream sequences. And I really like those. They're very fantastical. They feel very Ghibli. I love the planes full of people and like doing all the sort
whimsy.
of stuff. It's fun. And the rest of the movie just isn't.
Can I sidetrack us again? Speaking of the people in the planes and the dream sequence.
Yeah.
This man is like, all of my family and close friends are on this plane, basically my whole village. And then you see another little rinky-dinky plane pull up and he's like, oh, yeah, that's my fucking wife and kids, I guess.
He doesn't want them on the big plane. The big plane's going down. Stop bouncing on the plane. They're gonna let the bottom fall out.
He was like, I can't fucking stand those motherfuckers. Not on my big dream plane.
I could have used a whole movie on the dream sequences, quite frankly, I guess.
But then we get to the boy and the heron, which didn't make any sense at all for me for most of it. So
yeah.
I mean, I will say this. I really enjoyed this movie. I can understand if you guys don't like it, but kind of like last week, I enjoyed the story and the way that he wanted to tell it. Whether or not it's historically accurate, well, we'll agree to disagree on that. Oh, not agree to disagree. We'll say, yeah, it's not that historically accurate. I've liked films that are unhistorically accurate before. But yeah, I wouldn't put it on the upper echelon of Ghibli films, but I wouldn't say it's bad either. I still enjoy it quite a bit.
I think the problem is like, as his last hurrah, he wanted to show off technically speaking, fucking flawless.
Oh yeah. I want to just point out one thing that I think they do that I think they might have done better than any other film that they did before. And I think it's appropriate for a thing called The Wind Rises. I think they animate wind perfectly in this. The movement, the flow, the sort of like weight in its weightlessness, I guess. It's perfect throughout the film.
It's also always fluttering his jacket perfectly to show off his cake.
Yeah, no, it's really weird. Miyazaki went out of his way to give that man cake.
His sponge
he
cake?
had a certified dumpy.
Oh yeah.
I did not notice that, but I might have to rewatch now.
His jacket was like always perfectly peplumed out.
And like, it's not just like a little curve, like denoting like, yes, there is a butt here, like full rounded, like fucking caked up L. Was that actually sponge cake? Or was that like a weird English localization? I could not tell.
It looked like a cake. Like a slice of cake. So I don't know for sure, but like, yeah. I do.
It looked like those things you made for
Sandos.
Sandos, yeah. It looked like those without fruit.
I mean, I'm going to throw out there, I feel like Miyazaki, and I do give him credit for this, after, I think it was Nausicaa came out in the United States and got kind of chopped to hell by the distributor, he did make like a very strong point of, there will be no cuts to my film, and I think like he tries to make sure that there's very little localization for the most part. So I don't know. I don't know.
I could not tell if that was a jelly donut moment.
I do like that I did kind of feel that a little bit, because I feel like all of us have at some point been like in college or like had like that artsy friend who's like eats the same thing every day, and his friend commenting like, you had mackerel again for lunch, you have mackerel every day for lunch, and he comes through, sponge cake again. How do you function? How do you live when you only eat the same meal every single day?
Those are his safe foods.
Also,
Yeah,
can
it's like,
we
we get it.
talk about, they're constantly complaining about how poor of a nation Japan is. These are the most like fucking well-off, influential, like prissy little young master type come from money men I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, they are. Like you said, they put so much of the nation's money into military expansion. Yeah, these are the guys who are getting the money.
Even before that, this guy, Yujiro, growing up, he lived in a fucking McMansion. He had servants, okay?
Yeah.
Like, they were affluent,
Yeah.
not influential. Also, like, the scene of where the one bank got shut down, and the friend was just like, oh, that sucks. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Sucks to be poor, losers!
It does remind me of, like, I remember seeing a comedy about, like, it is so old. I'm trying to make sure I remember what this is. Aunt Maeve or something like that? Really old movie that kind of, like, goes throughout, like, the early 1920s all the way through to, like, the 50s or something like that. And I don't know. There was, like, a thing where they were all very rich, and then the stock market crashed, and then they were very poor, and then, like, there's other people who are like, oh, no, I got money in oil. I got money. It's fine. This is nothing to me.
And like, actually going back to the scene with the cake where he tries to give it to the kids, and he's like, oh, they ran away. Like, yes, you are a strange man offering cake to children. Yeah, they're gonna run away.
Yeah.
The only reason why I laughed is because he said the scene with the cake, and I thought you meant the scene where they showed his fat ass, not the actual cake.
Which scene?
Okay, that wasn't a scene. That was the whole movie.
Like every shot where like it's kind of like angled facing up as he's like standing there watching his plane take off into. There's cake in that scene.
If he's wearing a suit, he's got a cake.
Listen, I understand the wave's attraction. Although, let's also talk about that actually really quickly. Japan, I hate you. And your, like, weird sexualization of children. Like, the sister and the friend all being like, oh, you want to see that young woman again and get with her and marry her. Child! She was a child!
How young was she? Because I wasn't entirely sure. Because, like, that's when he's at the university. I'm assuming he's, like, 18, 19, old enough to be away from home kind of thing.
She was young enough that she was still being chaperoned.
I'm not sure if that was, like, is she 12? Is she 15? Is she, like... Because then they meet, like, 10-ish years later. I'm like, how big is the gap? I don't know how much we're going to actually find about the wife. Because if he's, like... in his, like, late 20s, early 30s, and she's, like, in her mid to late 20s at that point, I think it's fine.
No, we don't have anything on it. But, like, just based off of how she's drawn like his younger sister is.
I mean, how much younger is she than him?
Drawn like his younger sister was when he was a child.
I don't think that at all. They were almost the same height at a certain point, I thought.
Honestly, his sister looks the same throughout the entire movie.
Oh yeah, she needs a new haircut,
It's
100%.
the bob.
But
She's like Dora the Explorer for her entire life. She just gets a nicer dress.
No, listen. I will buy preteens to like early teens at the latest. I'm not buying like she's 15 or 16 there.
I'm not sure. I don't really feel like I got a great sense with height and whatnot because there's immediately an earthquake. He also, like, I don't think he ever saw her again until then.
No. I'm not saying their relationship specifically later in life. I have no problem with that. They're both adults at that point. It was when she was a child, they were like, oh yeah, you want to see her again because you like her and you want to get with her.
Oh, I thought they were talking about the older one whenever they were doing that.
No.
I'd have to watch it again. I did not feel like that was where I was going.
I honestly also assumed it was the nanny they were talking about. It wasn't until you were like, she's a child, knock that off.
Was
that I was like,
I thought that was I thought that was her sister. Didn't they say that was her sister who got married off or
No,
something?
that was her nanny.
Okay.
That was her nanny.
All right. A lot was going on at the time. I might have been a little not noticing a whole lot of details.
Does anyone else feel like the way it ended was too abrupt?
yes.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that you wanted to see something about him kind of having remorse over what happened a little bit, or that would have been a good thing to explore, because that was the moment he's like, all of my planes were used for war. And then it's like, and then the movie's over.
Yeah, and he's like, no one came back. None of them came back. Like, that's sad, that's heartbreaking, that's tragic.
Yeah.
And, like, we got nothing for it.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of understand, like, some criticism about it, because it's like, okay, yeah, you can talk creation for creation's sake, but then when your thing is used for something, that kind of becomes what it's about.
I mean, in the film itself, the Italian man and Jiro were both like, would you not build the pyramids if you knew people were going to die? I'm sorry, the pyramids are not a one-to-one comparison for innovation when you are developing war machines.
Yeah, the pyramids aren't used to actively kill people. People just died while they were being made.
I think that's a fair comparison, though, of, like, a lot of people did die making that shit.
He was saying, like, it had to be done. Like, these had to be developed. No, they didn't.
Yeah, it's...
This is a really dark and probably inappropriate joke, but I can see why Japan had suicide bombers, because every time a pilot got in to test one of them, he was basically signing up to die.
I mean, here's the thing. Any test pilot anywhere is essentially, like, you're aware that this is a test thing. We don't know if this is going to work. Like, there's... and especially in aviation, there are so many people who died trying to, like, with planes and stuff whenever they were first getting started with a lot of stuff. So no one knew what the hell they were doing.
You also had that one guy who they had a functional plane. It just wasn't going fast enough. And he's like, you know what? Let me break the plane to try and make it go faster.
And he survived. He did parachute out. I do think
you know what? Even if he survived, he probably got arrested.
Well, at the very least, he would have had seen some sort of like court. I don't know about court martial, but like I don't know. I don't know what the situation necessarily would have been. I am thinking about it. That's literally like the beginning of Top Gun Maverick, where Tom Cruise is like on a test flight thing to try to make a really fast plane, like faster than they've ever gone before, and they hit the mark that they want to go, and he's like, but I can push it further. And the plane blows up. And you lose the contract for the thing. And then you're in trouble. And also, you're halfway across the United States in about 10 minutes, which is very impressive.
I don't know, man. I think that ending, the last test flight, where the pilot came up and he shook his hand and he was like, yeah, good job. That was a moment of, thank fuck you didn't blow me up.
I mean,
like,
yeah.
I'm starting to feel like you had a personal vendetta against me specifically.
Okay, we don't know it was the same guy every time. You're acting like there's only one test pilot in Japan.
There actually was only one
their
test
hazard pay made them much more lucrative as test pilots?
I mean,
No.
here's the you're gonna get paid good to be a test pilot. You gotta be paid good to be a guinea pig.
Maybe they were drafted.
That's also a possibility,
that?
but even if you're drafted, you gotta get paid for being in like the army and stuff like that. It's not like they weren't
That's
getting
I
some
don't think those
compensation.
were
Yeah,
army
but-
people yet. Those were
but if you-
Mitsubishi
yeah.
people.
I'm sorry, everyone spoke at once. What?
It wasn't the army yet. Those were the Mitsubishi workers.
Yeah, but they had the military individuals there watching the test flight,
Watching.
and they said, well, you don't think they're going to want to have one of their pilots in there to be like, hey, we need to really like test this out and see what it's capable of?
Nah, they just took some random dude off the factory line, shoved him in the cockpit, and was like, alright, hope you don't blow up.
I'm trying to think of anything else I really want to talk about here.
The one plane did look really fucking cool. I'm sad we don't have planes like that.
The one that looked like it was like half metal, half wood kind of thing, right in the middle there.
No,
The
the one
three-tier?
with the viewing.
Oh, the
in
one
the
that
wings
crashed
and all
in
that.
the Italian guy's one.
No.
The one
No,
where
the German one.
The German one.
The M83, I think they said it was. Where they were. It was a transport plane.
Oh no, that's a real
Like,
plane. Yeah.
They transported people in the wings, and like you can look out. And, like, that's cool. Why'd we move away from that? I'm sure it would suck to balance, but
capitalism.
So that was the Junker G38, I think. Yeah, that was a real thing, and yeah.
it looked cool.
I think part of the problem is the fatter the wings get, the more drag it can create. So as we started getting larger and faster, everything sort of had to go into the fuselage, and then the wings had to become thinner, so you couldn't put people in there. Is part of it.
No, I know, like, logistically speaking, and again, like, even planes nowadays, like, they have a hard enough time balancing it out,
Yeah.
like, for, like, consumer flights, but, like, could you imagine? That would be so freaking amazing.
I mean,
I'd be terrified, but that would be cool.
honestly, there were a lot of, like, you could look up the history of aviation. There's a lot of really cool ideas for planes and stuff, and, like, maybe all Miyazaki wanted to do was draw some cool planes. I can't fault a man for that. Planes are pretty cool.
Even if Jiro didn't understand how they worked as a child.
I don't know, you didn't like his little bird plane thing?
The first thing I said as soon as it went straight up is, I'm like, that's not how planes work, you stupid fuck.
He's dreaming. In dreams, anything can be a reality. Like the Italian said, be careful. Even in your dreams, you can still have your head cut off.
The fun I had with this movie was the fun I made of it.
I don't know. I think overall here, I'm kind of a meh. It's not the most interesting Ghibli movie from a story or character perspective, but it looks great. The dream sequences are nice. The airplanes are very nice. It's a beautiful thing to look at. It's just it's not that interesting of a story.
Well, like I said earlier, I'm a yay. I like the film.
Yeah, I'm also a yay. I think it's very pretty. I think having like the wind be a consistent part in it shows a high level of technical skill. I do think it would have been more compelling if it was more like about the consequences of his actions and like him having to cope with that. But
The thing is I don't think he felt bad in real life.
I mean, I don't know. I like seeing people passionate about things. I guess I just like autistic people. Ouch. Ouch.
That's a statement.
This explains some things.
She married an autistic person.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
explains some things.
Yeah.
Do you like Pride
Wait,
and
how does that
Prejudice?
work? Because I don't like hyper focus like that.
Yeah, that's more my thing. What was that, Al?
Do you like Pride and Prejudice?
It's fine.
Yeah, that's an
Like Pride
autistic.
and
That's an
Prejudice and
autistic
zombies?
person falling in love with a normal person or whatever, or a neurotypical.
Yeah. Yeah, normal is not a nice way to phrase that.
I can't call Keira Knightley normal. She's the most beautiful person I've ever seen in that movie. I don't think
mean,
she's of our world at that point.
I haven't seen any movie adaptations of it, honestly.
Oh, we gotta watch Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Okay.
Basically anime, I
We
guess.
Anyway, it's a yay for me.
I'm also a meh here, like Al. Like it is very pretty. It's very like technically well executed. It's boring as fuck. I also think it does suffer from the like unfortunate amount it was hyped as Miyazaki's last movie, but also like between this and The Boy and the Heron, Miyazaki, please actually just retire.
Yeah, you have pointed out the guy said something about like artists only get 10 years of work. You're like, time is up, Miyazaki. You're on borrowed clocks now.
No, because okay, so like this originally finished in 2013, and by then that was already well past 10 years for him.
Oh, you know what? One other thing. This movie has really weird pacing and like no sense of time. You only get like there's time jumps and they don't comment on them most of the time. It'd just be like, oh, I'm in college now. Like, oh, okay, when did that happen?
Oh, and
I mean, he does look a lot older. That one's the easiest thing to time jump to notice. He goes from a bald child to a man with hair.
The weird, like, not quite pantomiming section, but like it felt like pantomiming with the little paper plane. Like they're falling in love montage. Like that was weird. That was
I like
weird.
that.
I thought
And then
that
she said one thing in the middle, and then it went
Yeah.
back to like the silent montage.
Yeah, that was weird. That could have been like a completed sequence.
Yeah, the sense of time thing is a problem there. I thought the sequence with the little plane was cute. I like that a lot.
But in the middle, she goes, nice catch, and then it goes
Yeah.
back to the sequence.
I thought that they had fallen in love over the course of 3 days, and I'm like, damn, they're really leaning into the Disney right now.
Yeah, and then he goes back to work, and then they get the call, and he has to go back to her. I'm like, you just left. Did you just make that trip like twice in 3 days?
Yeah.
How much time has passed?
Oh, we also had to take a bit of a fucking deep dive on when tuberculosis was actually named tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they stopped calling it consumption.
She would not have been diagnosed with tuberculosis yet.
I could give that a little bit of like leeway because they might have said that just so that modern audiences would understand it, as opposed to consumption, which, depending on like how much you like read about old stuff, might not even be a thing for you to understand what that is.
Yeah.
Do you know why it's called tuberculosis?
Because that's the name of the bacteria?
No. It got its name because, like, they could obviously cut open autopsy people, but around the advent of the X-ray, they actually got to see what the lungs looked like inside a living patient who was suffering, and they're like, oh, that looks like tubers growing.
Okay, I can see that. That can make sense.
I'm like, that's so fucked up.
It's a fun fact, though.
I'm just picturing like the end of Iron Lung happening inside the lungs.
They
Like,
X-rayed
wiggling
someone and they're
in.
like, oh, it looks like you're growing a potato in there.
Yeah.
This is just reminding me of South Park. Son, the operation was successful. However, we replaced your heart with a baked potato. You have about 5 seconds to live. All right, I think we're done here. I think we're good.
As like a follow-up fact, though,
Oh,
when
God.
when it was named tuberculosis, they also did start developing the cure to it. So
Hey, that's great. So, on that happy note, next week it's another what are we watching kind of situation. So, no homework for this week, and we'll also tell you next week what March is going to bring. It's going to be a doozy, so get ready for that. Stop laughing, you son of a bitch. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!